spam some emails.
I can't believe he did y'all like that. I can't believe he did me like that. I wanted to know the top 11 too. Oh, hey, JCS, thank you for the 10 months, man. What's up? Huge. Oh, whoops. What's up? What's up? Did you want to do video or no video? You can do no video.
I make it work because it doesn't. You can't share 2 videos of it.
Right. I think I can. I can get this sort. I have 2 cameras.
Oh.
Here, hold on. Let me.
Oh, if I don't have to see you if you don't want, but
yeah. It should work. I gotta fix the window capture if it doesn't. I guess it's not gonna work with my second camera. Oh well, if you don't need to see me, it tends to make it a little more fluid, but not working this time.
I will watch the stream in order to have your.
All right, fair enough. Let me get my sound volumes. Get the sound balanced out, but yeah, I can't believe you did your viewers like that. I was ready for the top 11.
I had a deadline, right? I'm already 3 minutes late. I'm not gonna keep you waiting, you know.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Got to get 2 streams out of them. But that being said, I'm excited for it. I want to know who the top 11 are.
I don't think it's gonna be a surprise. I don't think it's gonna be a surprise even a little bit.
No, well, so what the surprise is who gets completely snubbed, right? Because I guarantee everyone's gonna have like a character that's gonna be on there, and you think you're gonna narrow it down, right, by the process of elimination, but then you're gonna leave somebody off completely that's gonna make someone go, whoa, how'd you not know that my super sweet Kami deck can one-shot every character?
I think if I made a top 31, I bet Kami would be on there. I bet Kami is a character that I've come to force myself to respect.
Yeah, she's definitely like at the forefront of plays the game a different way, but that's not exactly what we're here to talk about. So let's not get wrapped up in top 10 lists, top 25 lists, top Discord logo lists.
Sorry.
Let's get caught up in the bans and errata list, because that is the #1 thing changing up this format. I didn't even do an intro for this podcast because I was so natural coming from your stream. So for anyone who's watching this later on YouTube, welcome into the Orange Card Blue Card podcast. I'm Sam Tate from Ace Maneuvers. I got Tam Cardwell from, of course, Tam Cardwell. He really does. And this episode is right after the Mikasa and Reiner errata, the Godzilla clarification, and the counters clarification. So that's going to be the main thing we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about how that will affect the upcoming Webcam Championship tournament in just like 48 hours from now, 72 hours. It's this weekend, so I'm really excited about that. I want to get your thoughts and opinions, Tam. What is, in your opinion, the most important thing that came from this ban and errata list?
I think the most important thing that came from this ban and errata list is strictly, I have the names of all of the Godzilla players who have ever once per gamed me, and I am going to retroactively call a judge on them because they were cheating. They did not do the right thing. They made me take all of my foundations and put them in the scrap pile, and that's a messed up thing to do. That's messed up. We played the game wrong. I do need to go back and fix history. Jokes aside, I think that the #1 thing that came out of this list is anger. I have not seen the community be up in arms about a ban list in a long time.
Yeah.
In a long time. I think it's crazy that the ban list hit and everybody lost their minds, and they know that you have to know that Mikasa was an issue. You have to know that Reiner was an issue, right?
They
UVS Games has always had a soft hand, and they did it without any events.
Yeah, I think the big thing for me is Mikasa and Reiner both, and to an extent Bertolt too, with the original like I can clear every attack that you completely block. They they absolutely push the most common card game mechanics to their core, right? Of like how much resource disparity can we have? Because it's not just about advantage. It's not always about ramp, right? If I get one every turn, but I kill one of yours every turn, you know, that's usually way worse than me just getting one additional, right? And so the biggest thing for me is the Reiner Your attack, because that just felt so anti-universes and anti-every card game I've ever played. You know, you have to go like really far back into Magic, and even then they Stone Rain costs 4 mana, you know? And Reiner's flipping on turn 2 sometimes. So
Yeah.
Just the core mechanics of progressive difficulty and like resource denial, and these two characters pushed them all the way to an 11. I felt like they were gonna wait till Atlanta, but I knew something was gonna happen.
Yeah, it's so interesting too because those characters fight each other so well, right? Of Reiner, like the Reiner versus Mikasa is like such an interesting pre-errata, such an interesting matchup because Reiner before the flip says that all your moves do -1 damage, which is pretty impactful on Mikasa throwing a bunch of 4 damage moves, right? And then post flip says that you have no foundations to play your cards with, but Mikasa's like, it's fine, I'll build my own with these with the lightning rods, and I'll commit those, and those are the ones that you'll break, and like I'm down to play with no stage, right? Because I'll just discard my hand and not have progressive. I'll just roll the 5s. And so like it's really, really interesting. I think what's important here is number one, what got missed, because there are still things in the format that I think are kind of silly. And 2, now that those power vacuums are gone, right? Gone. Because I still think both those decks are viable. Spoilers for tomorrow. Reiner is in my top 10. And Mikasa is on my top 30. So like I think that those characters are still viable. But like what gets pushed up? What pushes up and replaces them?
Yeah, I think so. For one, my overall cope, my number one cope was that we needed Mikasa to kill the Reiners. Like straight up. That was whenever I was playing Mikasa and people were like, yeah, that's not fine. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm keeping Reiner in check, right? Because she does, right? You said it perfectly. She commits that foundation that she's going to ruin on the next attack anyways, and just goes, and just has to check 5s. And so I'm glad they got hit together. The number one thing I think that got missed that seemed like another slam dunk, and I talked about it a little bit on my video that I titled that, was the Jaw Titan clarification seemed really easy to me. So I don't know if there is something more technical at hand. My best guess is that there's some perfect wording they have to find other than just straight up errata-ing it. And, you know, they make multiple decisions at once, right? It's not just as simple as saying, we need Jaw Titan to, like, be obvious and quell any confusion. But they don't want to necessarily make the wrong statement around it. So I don't know. But Jaw Titan has that increases health wording that we don't see anywhere else. Everything that says increases maximum health, and you know everything that says gain health, that doesn't say increase and things like that. So I felt like
on the Jaw Titan attacks, and
yeah, sorry, not Ymir's flip side. Jaw Titan attacks.
Okay.
The Jaw Titan backup side.
Interesting.
So as a backup, right, it's just got like confusing wording, because in its own effect it says increase health, and it says they can't gain health. And you can use a very obvious understanding of the game and the English language. But also, we have to think about players where English might not be their first language, right? You know, they're trying to learn the difference between key game mechanics that, you know, if you've ever tried to learn a card game in another language or seen translations, you know, stuff like that, it can get a little weird when you're using different terms to mean the same things. They assume it's vastly different. So I think that could have just been like an easy thing to tack on there. If we're talking about like that, like
this is a classic. This is a classic soccer FIFA argument, right? Of in soccer you don't touch the ball with your hands because you're not allowed to. In FIFA you don't touch the ball with your hands because you literally can't.
Because you can't,
right? Yeah, this is such a people are gonna mess this up because they're allowed to mess this up, and the clarification like should just exist so that everybody's playing FIFA.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like I don't think anyone's really gonna like angle shoot, and I'm really hoping that any judge that gets called upon for this is gonna make the ruling that I would agree with. You know, I'm not gonna say it's the right ruling because there is always some chance that this isn't how they wanted it to work, you know, and it would blow my mind, but nothing's 100% certain, and that's why I wish that God Titan was there to make it 100% certain. But as far as like power level stuff goes, I mean, Ymir is right there. I think Ymir is kind of being slept on as far as her ability to scale and present things that are just out of hand. The fact that her primary gimmick involves healing health and extending her life total means that bulky seven-hander that has kind of always been taboo in the past, combined with the fact that you've played a lot of Spike 1 from Cowboy Bebop, that guy did not have impressive abilities, but he sure did have 4 extra health and you know, just a little bit of damage reduction for him, while Ymir healing 1 is very similar. So while I do think the overall offensive capacity has increased since that age, I mean, Ymir is one of the factors of that. So having effectively the highest health total of any of the seven-handers, rivaling damage that you'd have to deal to Reiner himself, even through all of his damage reduction, and then having way more damage pump than any of the other characters in Attack on Titan, I think Ymir is definitely on a watch list.
Yeah, it's either Ymir or the thing that enables her, right? Like if we break Ymir down as just like a character, her front side is a combination of offensive Nejire 1 and Ryukyu's training agency, right? It's a combination of those two cards. And then on the backside is the craziest snowballing character. Like it's Ochako too, but instead of I'll lift 1 attack, it's on my 7th attack I'll give it 25 damage. Like it's the crazy. I don't think I have seen a snowballing character this insane ever in the history of me playing the game. Of just like on every attack I'm gonna gain 6 health and I'll give it 7 damage. I'll gain another 3 health. I'll give my second move 10 damage. Like Scorpion wasn't hitting those numbers, right? And Scorpion wasn't gaining health to do so. Scorpion was a 6-hand size character that wanted to play a 1 check. This is not what Ymir is doing on her flip side.
Right.
I think that you easily could take Ymir. Truthfully, if you took Ymir and you made her a twice per turn, I think it does more interesting things to what the character is doing, because you aren't allowed to just like spam the button. You can't just like slam your hand on the pad and be like, this combo is going to work. I'm playing as I'm gonna do it. Or you just like kneecap her by killing a rare in Yu Yu Hakusho and just get rid of Mortal Shapeshifter and then see what that does to the character, because like Fire Ymir struggles to find struggles to find the health gain in order to scale out huge, right? It's actually like it's manageable. Right. Yeah, they're getting +5, +6, but like it's not I'll play my 5th attack and I'll give my move 20 damage, which is just silly.
Yeah, it's another thing too where I don't know if you call it modern card game design or, you know, it's something I did thumbs up in a recent video. So I'm not saying this is necessarily a bad thing, but the fact that Ymir is getting bonuses based on a good beneficial effect, right? It's not for every time you sacrifice the foundation, like I think it's Irwin gets a wall counter for every time you discard a card as Krista, like you have to lose something. Yeah. And typically they come with their own benefit, right? Like Botons, you're going to draw it anyways. So, you know, it's not always the biggest deal, but the idea is you have to be not strictly plussing. And so it's just very interesting to me that it's so easy, it seems, to get that health gain fired off. Obviously, I mean, the life symbol, it's all about gaining health, so the redundancy and effects is going to be there. But yeah, I don't know if chat's talking about putting a damage cap. I don't know if you'd have to rework the ability into some kind of like response +1 damage every time you gain health, during this attack. So you still kind of ramp up, but you don't storm out and like store it. Because one of the things that's real frustrating, I'll say this, Ymir can gain like health 3 or 4 times on the first attack, and then just be chilling with +2, +4, and commit completely out to kill you with echoes and DNLs and the turn 2 stat line of I formed, I built, I knew training, we're good to go is like kind of insane. And I know people are gonna say things like, well, that's a high roll, that's everything going right, but at the same time it's what you built the deck to do, right?
Yeah, the life symbol's ability to have the consistency of like finding the pieces that it wants to find, right? With the amount of draw and truthfully, like this conversation probably doesn't happen next year with new training method gone, right?
Yeah.
Like new training method being able to be like, oh, this is the really good foundation that I need, and my character builds it this turn. Yeah, I'll pick that up, right? Like the fact that you have to go and legitimately find your health gaining pieces is like probably slows this character down significantly. But with that said, there are more cards coming out. So like what happens if we get like if we're allowed to play 8 copies of Wild Pussycats afterwards, right? Yeah, it's not new training method, but Wild Pussycats is just as good at finding the foundations we need. And so like it's newer training method is very funny.
Really quick. That is one of the reasons why I also think the Jaw Titan clarification is kind of important. Because if Ymir is now after Erratas, pretty much to be neck and neck the best character out of Attack on Titan, knowing that Ymir is one of the only characters with a silver bullet in the set, right? Jaw Titan says, stop that, cancel it, you can do no more of it. That's one of the hardest stop signs they've ever had. So like Ymir, knowing full well that there's a infinity symbol counter to your whole game plan has to matter somewhere. So that's the other reason why it's funny that Ymir is now kind of the best, but I also need to know that I can play this 6 difficulty attack and it'll operate as a silver bullet to one of the most, like you said, one of the most cranked characters they've ever made.
Yeah, it's funny. So Wub, obviously, and Ymir is on my short list of things to like pick up and play. I've got I ordered my last Myths of Despair, and like a fool, they got shipped to my parents' house, so they are currently 2 hours away from me. I have to figure out how to get them in Iowa. But we were talking about it of like, what do you do against the Jaw Titan? And the cleanest answer you have is just on the turn that you want to flip. Before you flip, just Tetra Terror.
Yeah.
You just play Tetra Terror with a singular momentum, and then you hit it twice. You get to trigger both of your deals damage moves, pick up the 2 best things, clear the Jaw Titan, and then you're off to the races with the 2 best attacks in your discard pile, like ready to go. And so like even then, if we are saying that we have a clean answer to what Ymir, the character card, has got going on in the Jaw Titan attacks, they have a clear answer to your answer.
They love hitting backups with Tetra Terror. That's true. But that's gameplay. That's gameplay at least. You gotta have it, right?
Is there anything missed? I mean, obviously, like you said, a little maybe touching Ymir. I have like at least 2 more cards that I wanted to see touched.
Ooh. There's definitely some cards I'd like to see gone. I feel like erring on the side of caution because there is a practical element to it where you or I might agree that this might be something that shouldn't exist, but at the same time, if it's not going to be an issue anyways, because there's always people who are like, this is going to be a disgusting issue deck, and then no one plays it ever at an event. It never tops. It never gets any visibility. Even when you do see like Mina Ashido 2 like pog off on stream and do the most disgusting turn 2 ever, You know, I think it's topped exactly one event. I don't remember. You know, no offense to whoever topped with it, but I think it's happened one time. So like, I got a couple of those. I got a couple like disarming glance. I know people hate that combo. I'm digging it. I kind of like the idea of like I can build a strategy around it, but I know it's like
Sure.
something people don't think should exist. They don't think it should work the way it does. I'm kind of fine with it because even today I was testing that Bakugo deck with some tweaks from the grind on Tuesday, and I did an explosive rebuke. I did disarming. I kicked it with itself, and it felt cool. And my opponent was like, "Why would you do that? You need the damage." And I ended up 5 damage short exactly, or something, you know. And I probably could have ripped their whole hand out and didn't need to worry about that whole combo. So like, if that's not even going to be an issue, why do we even have to think about it, right? So I got some stuff like that.
So it's interesting that you bring up that combo particularly because that combo is the reason that I lost to Ben Lambright in top 16 at St. Louis.
It's a cool
Right? I was
combo. I'm
playing as-
sorry. It's kind of sweet.
I was playing as Jester. I had 4 to 6 momentum, I don't remember, and I started my loop, and he played that and then bounced my thing back to my hand with the whatever with
Right. Dissolving
yeah,
the conflict.
and so dissolving, right? And the next turn he killed me. And so it was just like, whoa, what a cool silver bullet ability that like just like shuts down my neat combo deck from doing its thing. And then you have to think back and be like, are there any other of these like silver bullet kind of ideas that exist to fill out the rest of the color wheel, right? And there are some, right? Like you look at people could do that same complaining about Ryukyu, VME, blank block, and incredible display, right? Like an easy 2-card piece plus your character of like, I want to have this asset out, I want to have incredible display out. All right, I will block with a 1 high block, print a momentum, lift that 1 high block back. Okay, I'll change your move and give -3 speed to a high block. All right, I'll print another block. All right, I'll pick it back. Like this is just as that's just as heinous as you can't draw cards, right? It's just as futile trying to kill that turn. But at least with like your combo, it made me take a turn off, whereas opposed to that other combo, it's the rest of the game if I want it
over,
to be.
Yeah.
I'll just hold this one and you'll never touch me. Now my 2 big ones are, I think that for the another health of the game idea, I think that Smiling Titan should her stats pump should be once per turn.
Okay.
I think that these big crazy moves are big and crazy, and she should make the first one terrifying. But I shouldn't have to deal with 2 Ravages of War that are 12 high for 12s. Not on an 8 and then on a 9 as she readies her whole stage. I'm down for 12 high for 12 and then 8 high for 8. I think that's acceptable, right? But like hey, here's 24 unblockable damage on turn 2, and I didn't really spend very much for it. And it ruins your stage. It breaks your stage and kills your hand and kills your momentum, right? Like it just like does, it tacks on all that extra. And so like I think that Smiling could easily be a once per turn. And I think that Shocking Nobody, I love the Mikasa errata. I think it's crazy that we have a character that does this exact same thing still, arguably better.
Yeah,
and
arguably
Beast Summoning,
much better.
Beast Summoning didn't get touched.
Yeah.
Beast Summoning inside of Pony is as bad, if not worse, than the Mikasa idea. Chat, truthfully, you can play that exact same deck, and it is just now Pony instead of Mikasa, and you don't get scaling stats, but Pony doesn't have to hit you to draw the cards.
Right.
Pony doesn't have to discard a bonus card to clear the card out of her card pool. Asterix. She does kind of. She generates the counters by doing that, but she replaces it back. Under the Earth symbol, she gets 8 cards that replace.
Yeah.
8. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, you get because you can still play Earth, and then you can, if you really want to go full with it, you can play 4 Wish Hard, 4 Feral Shriek.
Yeah, you can play Wish.
4 Any Means Necessary, and I believe there's another card that's like after you discard it, you get to peek or something like that. I can't. Oh no, that's a life card. That's a Potato Girl. But
There,
yeah, no.
there is one that says -1 difficulty, right?
Yeah,
And so
that's
like,
what it was.
hey,
Yeah,
your strings are easier.
There's so much, yeah. And then I like problem solving because I'm a dweeb. I like the air version, and so you can like discard for +1 to your check. There's that character getting 2 more cards that are any means necessary and being allowed to play it with any means necessary has made a massive, massive difference in the speed at which you can go full turbo.
And the fact that the air symbol in general, the attuned air symbol identity in Attack on Titan, you could just make a small package of this, right? Let me go look up the air foundations that we have, right? I could just be playing get in, get out at a 2 of, right? Hey, there's an extra copy of the attacks. This is my chance. If you block the move, it clears. So I'll just go pick it up again. Yep. Battlefield aid. If you completely block it, it clears. So you can just like run this little mini package, and anybody could just be Mikasa, and you don't have to discard the card, right? And so like, hell, Mikasa could still do this and like do the thing. Like it's crazy that like that loop with what the air symbol is doing in AOT is not going to get touched. I played with Rebby today. I think we played either 6 or 7 games before she called it quits. And truthfully, I called it quits. I killed her as Pony versus her woman, so 34 health on the evil symbol. There were some turns where she had not 1 but double invincible body. I was finding 34 on turn 3, 7 games in a row. It was just like, oh, I drew it, and here it is. Oh, I'm just gonna cycle through my deck, and I'm gonna play actually 35 game actions on my turn, and you'll play none, and you for sure get to block 1 thing, but that doesn't matter because I'm gonna keep doing my thing. Oh, sorry, this Falling Skies is an 8 for 8, and you're at 6. Sorry.
Yeah, and
Chucks.
There's Pony still gets access to the action cards. There's the form discard draw 2, so if you thought we were a 60 card deck, we're really not. You can clear that card from her card pool with 3 counters. So when you start with 3 counters and the 3 diff, and they play draw 2 into a 4 diff, and then they discard 2 and draw 4 cards, you're just gonna feel bad. Like, you're not gonna know what to do. There's no way the deck bricked. It's really gonna be up to can they pass the checks. And not to just compare the offense to Mikasa, but this is a character that now has 2 different defensive abilities. You can always, when you need to, spend counters for -2 speed, and you can zone change to get a preferable block, a better block. Spend 2 counters so you can block with a non-attack card to save that attack is, definitely a trade I'm willing to make now that I can get so many more counters than before. We've got more ways to ready foundations than before, which is important because American exchange student, it changes the math drastically. I'm not the math guy. My local Brett Hellman is. He's actually the guy who gave me the orange card, blue card name, and he passed that on from his old articles. And so he's been all up about Pony, and he explained to me, like, if you commit for 1 counter, you have to play 1 less attack to get another clear. And this is before Attack on Titan. This is like, last format Pony. So you get 1 additional clear than you would with another attack. And on defense, it counts as commit for -2 speed. So you don't have to play cards like Nice Try because you can commit it, and your counter, your Pony counters effectively stay the same after you do this -2 speed. So on top of the fact that it's going to give you damage when you do it on your own attack, just generating 1 extra counter for Pony is huge. Now that she has a 3 diff that generates 3 counters by clearing a card when you block, you can clear a card by sacrificing a foundation. You don't even have to choose. You don't even have to pick. Like you can play both, and they're both really good, like reliable clear cards. So Pony's definitely up there for absolute insanity, and the only thing holding her back is sometimes 20 health isn't enough.
Sure. But I mean, under the air attune symbol, we got air and sidestep. This attack gets -2 speed if it's completely blocked draw card.
Yeah.
Man, it's a real shade that high is now a low, right? And then we have access to
Kate?
Mikasa defeats the female Titan, right?
Oh,
And-
yeah,
and,
yeah.
I'm sorry. We're only talking about air attuned. She also got fire attuned stuff.
Yeah.
So she has like sacrifice for the cause. If you try to DR her, I tell you no. I'm down to discard extra cards and like give more stats. Like this character is a deck builder's delight, and the fact that attuned symbols are so nutty. Attuned symbols are doing exactly what we thought they would do, and it's just making deck building harder. And because it's making deck construction harder, it's raising the potential of every character in the past, not necessarily these Attack on Titan characters. Yeah, scary.
Yeah,
It's very scary.
Pony's got a little bit of access to everything. She gets beast summoning on all 3 of her symbols, stopping for breakfast on her two of them. There's a lot you can do. She can also play full cowling 8%, almost as good as Mikasa does. And guess what? That also readies American exchange student for getting your bonus counters. So that middle turn full cowling is like, so what I'm trying to say is people are mad about the value of your full cowlings. Play Pony instead of Mikasa, right? It's still a great deck for that. If you went out and bought beast summonings and you're mad about Mikasa, just play Pony. You can stay on the air symbol and everything. So Pony's definitely on a watch list. I don't want to put Pony up there. I don't want to put like a spotlight on it, because even though she's disgusting, it's cool to watch. It's like sick to see all the different things you can do. It's cool when you go, okay, I've got like 5 counters left. I'm not going to clear anymore. I'm just going to zone change these last 2 attacks. Seeing like the skill expression on choosing when to play on progressive and do those other effects. But she is pretty gross.
And my point is, I think the skill expression goes away whenever you just have access to beast summoning.
Yeah, beast summoning.
Whenever you're just playing these on
beast summoning go. I'm down
beast
with
summoning.
beast summoning.
Beast summoning should have just left.
Yeah. Beast summoning also does one of my things that I don't like a lot, which it might be fair, right? This is one of those things when you talk about balance, like beast summoning making you pay for life each time means that if your opponent does have the miraculous out, it becomes a non-game, which again, maybe you deserve for trying to do something so disgusting with a 7-hander instead of a 38 health character. But it is kind of deflating when my opponent goes, all right, well, I'm just going to burn 19 or, I can't do math, burn 20, and you survived that one, and I survived that one, but I'm committed out, and you just got to resolve any attack to win now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that is how my one game with that I lost today was I put woman to 1, and I checked 1 too many 3s, and I had, because I sculpted my hand as Pony, I had 3 more attacks in my hand. I just checked a little poor. And
I think
if you told me that there was a card that said pay 4 health, add a 5 damage attack to my hand, I would play it at a 4 of, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I just would.
I think you can make a case for King Ghidorah to be on a watch list to get maybe a change somewhere too, if only because the design philosophy for Attack on Titan fits his game plan that was kind of already established in St. Louis so well. He's already playing Dissolving and gets to do it the entire game, right? It's something that you basically have to be Toru 2 to have that level of access to like bounce it back to your hand, make you recheck an attack. He's got access to the check hack abilities, which I don't know if you've ever fought a King Ghidorah who builds a Dissolving and a Fighting for Control on turn 1, but it makes you like do like the cartoon squiggly eyes when you look at the 8 diff attack in your hand and go, I don't know which one's worse for me, So
that was my round 1 of the case tournament. Actually, was I fought against Garrison, and he the game 3 he had triple Dissolving out, and I was just looking at my hand of like 2 10 diffs, and I'm like, well, what do I do?
What do I do? Yeah, so that's I think the normal game plan for Ghidorah is huge up there. I think it was the first deck I made because it's the deck that says Smiling Titan can't 2-tap me. They have to play a 3rd one, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when it's Smiling Titan.
True.
It's and again, you're bouncing attacks, your twisty surroundings. You get access to barrier shield on the 2 popular symbols with that character. You get death attuned cards, which is kind of a big deal right now. And another thing that's really big is the toolbox effect. When you have these 4 check attacks, feels really good. When you half your deck is 4 check attacks that you don't really care if you can't play turn 2, you're not an aggressive deck, you're not trying to aggro them out, you can block with it, you can go get it later when it's appropriate, right? When unexpected outcomes is gonna hit, you can play it on a 10 and win the game because you are so good at stretching that late game style of game plan. So King Ghidorah, I don't know if it's that he fits so good into the format and it was designed, you know, to be that way, but it feels like he's kind of ahead of the game already, even though he came out, you know, way before Attack on Titan.
Also insane that combined firepower didn't get touched.
That's
also crazy.
True.
Yeah.
Combined firepower is in a weird place for me just because I don't end up building decks where I get the damage pump that much, and I don't think, especially in King Ghidorah, I don't think the chain blocking is that useful anymore. But at the same time, it's a one of in a deck, right? Like you can easily play that as a one of and just always have that mid block, always have that little damage pump. Beating check hacks. I don't know if I talked about this before, but when I was playing George Zhang, I was playing Jiro 2 versus his Rodan. He was using combined firepower against the deadlock from Without a Vision. So if I ever did the deadlock, you get -1 to your next check. He's like, okay, well I can just sit on these firepowers and play 4 attacks before I can hack 1 check. So there's definitely a lot of versatility to that.
Speaking of George Zhang, do you know that he won the last webcam tournament?
Yeah, that's the one I was just referencing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the combined firepower.
Yeah. Sam, that was a beautiful organic segue to get into the second topic of the show. I don't know.
I thought you wanted
the tournament this weekend, right?
I thought you wanted to hype it up. Okay.
It was just such a beautiful transition. Everybody at home, gift a sub for that transition to Ace Maneuvers. Just right now. It's September. You got the change. Tournaments happened this weekend. What do you? We had a good turnout last time. It filled and then it didn't fill and then it almost filled. And we are not filled currently. So everybody at home, I'll see if I still have it.
I think I still have to sign up. Waiting for my dad to pay me back so I can sign up.
There is the link, everybody at home. What do you think is going to happen? We are inside of the tournament. We are a couple days away. We are playing with the current ban and errata list. So there is Mikasa has changed, Reiner has changed. What do you think is going to show up at this tournament, man?
I think there's definitely going to be a big smattering of Ymir. I think that character is mad popular. I think she plays like simple and fast, right? Simple and clean. It's pretty obvious where her power spikes come from. It's obvious what you're trying to do with the deck. And yet, there's a lot of options still. They're not all exactly the same. There's definitely some staples. I don't think you'll ever see one without a Mortal Shapeshifter. But you'll definitely see some different attack lineups. I think you're going to see some Godzilla. I think Godzilla is just a popular character. I think people like that he's got the 34 health into this format. He's got a big reset button, so if you're like behind versus Smiling Titan, and Smiling Titan had a great turn 1 build, and Smiling Titan doesn't have a great turn 3 build, that might win you a game. You know, you build 2, and then their build 2 isn't as impressive because you're playing 5s, they're playing 8s. It's a little different, you know, and your damage pump really keeps up with Smiling. You're going to see a lot of Smiling Titan. There's got to be Smiling Titan. There's got to be Ryukyu. These are all the ones we just talked about, known entities. As far as maybe lesser known decks that I definitely expect to see, I think that there's I just lost it. I just had it. I think that there's a contingency of players out there who are wanting to play Karasu and Karasu has an absolutely disgusting amount of damage pump with all the sacrifice in the set, the deck has like no defense unless you play his worst symbol. So that might not happen. There might not be Karasu, but I know like Ben Lambright was digging that deck a lot and stuff like that. So if you want to count to 35 damage though, and you want to do it versus the decks that like say sacrifice a foundation, he's definitely up there. Other than that, the deck I'd like to see the most, but I don't know if I'm gonna see it, is I would like to see the Anasa deck that we played on stream on Tuesday. That deck was very, very cool, and it did seem pretty strong.
I think what's important here is that you've listed a lot of characters, right? And I think that there are definitely some obviously stronger characters than others, right? Like things like Ryukyu is going to look at some of those characters that you listed and be like, you are cute. I'm just playing for VME, and just like, I don't care what your damage output is. I'm just gonna full block everything, right?
Yeah. You're doing
like there's some idea of you must be this tall to ride, but I do think that with Attack on Titan and with every set of universes that comes out, like, and our game and our players as a whole, the cool shit will rise to the top, right?
I think the worst part is I think it might be too late. It's too late to get people started on new stuff because there's definitely a lot of really cool like singular ideas that I think have been untouched or unexplored because of that centralizing around Mikasa and Reiner. For example, one character I was not gonna play into Reiner was Rappa. Rappa just getting his whole stage, like, because you end up with a lot of face downs. His replacement effects are good. Like, if you flip looking for a challenge for +2 and then Reiner makes you ruin it, that just messes up your math so bad. And Rappa is very, very cool with 7 difficulty attacks. He's very cool with high diffs because he doesn't just pump to play punches. You know, his response is punch based, but the female Titan attacks helps you tutor bullet punches and things like that. So he got some really cool tools, and he has 2 attuned symbols that you can play off of. And he's got access to things like the barrier shields, like the staple like anti-big attacks. Evil and Fire have like good games into. So that's a character that like I think it's just a little too late because the ban list came out yesterday.
Yeah. Yo, Underhand Smash. You said Rappa, and I love Rappa. Underhand Smash, 5/3, 4 high for 5. This is blitz your next attack you play that gets +3 speed. Just like doing that to a bullet punches, like the first bullet punches, to make sure that it lands. Whew.
Yeah, when
Holy
you can
cow.
when you can make the first bullet punch difficult to block, it makes a huge difference with that deck. And you know, he struggles with those high health total characters because he doesn't have the stats on phase, but unexpected outcomes helps with that a whole lot.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting because like there's even like, man, if you would have told me that, you know, Bakugo 4 was gonna come out of the woodwork and be like a top 30 character, I would be like, you mean knock off base? That's there's no shot. But like just having risky encounters in the format says that any death character can just make a Hail Mary comeback at any point in the game, right?
Yeah.
Like it's such a crazy comeback card of just like, whoops, it's a 3 diff. I nuked my stage. Who cares? And so like the fact that Karasu even left your lips says that the tournament has the potential to be really eclectic and really weird and interesting. But the question is will it, right? Because there is some stats on the line. Like I was looking at, and this is not me confirming anything. This is me confirming 0 things. So David sent me a potential pricing chart for the championship in December. And it's looking that like first place is going to walk away with like $700, which is not a small chunk of change, right? Like that is that's rent for a month because
That's
you
rent. Yeah, I was about to
played
say
in a tournament, right?
that's some bills, man. That's
Obviously,
some bills.
that number is not confirmed. Please don't take it as gospel. But like there are actual stakes on the line, and guys, this tournament might be higher stakes than the regular universes tournaments when it comes to if you win the damn thing, right? Like,
it's definitely got some really nice prizing for top 8. I think my favorite part about it is if you make top cuts, you get a nice chunk of change that definitely makes it worth your time, right? You know, even if it's absolutely throwaway cash, right? You come out $35 ahead, and you get to go have a nice dinner with your friends on Sunday, just and talk about your run. You know, so even in the microcosm, you know, I don't know. If you told me, there was a point where in Vegas, I can't say any names, but there was definitely a store that was holding cash tournaments in the alley, you know, not in the building officially, and people were stoked to get like a $100 cash pot and split it 4 ways. You know, $5 in, and then top 4 would split $25, and then we'd all go to Raising Cane's. You know, and that was the night, right? And then half the time, if we're all hanging out, we're playing Commander or something at Raising Cane's, like, we're just gonna loop that $100 together and buy everyone dinner anyways or something. Like, we get the tailgate package back when it was less than $100. I think it's more than that now, but you know, this is a decade ago, guys. So, you know, like getting like even just the smallest bang for your buck feels so good playing card games.
We're gonna get off on a tangent of like why card games are one of the best hobbies.
We just
of all
want
time.
you guys to play this weekend.
But yeah, true. Like the idea of like, imagine going to the movies and you watch the movie so well that after they're done, they give you $25 back. It's like, what hobby does that, right?
To be fair, that is what
crochet
was
so good. Say again.
To be fair, that is what playing Mikasa was like. You're just watching a movie in your card pool, and you're like, "Wow, I'm so good at watching this happen."
Holy cow! Whoa! I drew my lightning rods and not checked them. I'm not Sam Tate. That's tight.
Yeah.
That's so sick.
It's tough because I think what's gonna be really interesting about this this weekend isn't even so much the characters that'll get played. I think you're right. I think I might be grandstanding a little bit because there's always like the pet decks, the fan favorite decks. Everyone's got their favorite character that they've been just like hammering home, and they're gonna prove themselves with it. And we always get 1 or 2 of those in Top Cuts, but I think what's gonna be super interesting to me is what sideboards look like, because sideboarding seems really effective right now. We have, like, for example, Disarming Lance is so good against Ryukyu. If you can get the actual like turn lock out, the average Ryukyu player is not going to know what to do, because when you play a blank card and it does literally nothing for you, you don't get momentum, you don't get to draw a card, it doesn't replace itself, you're going to have one of the worst turns in all of Universe's history. Whereas when Ryukyu normally goes play 1 attack, play 3 blank 0 divs, pass turn, they have 5 cards in hand and or enough momentum to play every defense, you know, every vertical maneuvering. They're gonna have a perfect block. If they don't have access to vertical maneuvering now because they don't have momentum and none of their foundations do anything, like, that's a huge sideboard pickup, right?
No, that is fair. I mean, that's like the beauty of our game, right? Is like, you have to do your homework enough to know what exists in the upper echelon, and then how many times have you accidentally, you know, had to read your opponent's character and be like, oh, this is what this does, and then get 2-0'd by it and be like, and go complain to your friends and be like, I can't believe that this bad kid played XYZ character, right? And that happens.
Every event.
That can happen a lot in our game. Yeah, right.
I think it was it might have been Travis Tangement. I don't think it was actually at an event, but I think it was prep for an event, and he was playing, I think it was playing Overhaul, and he played the Toga card that's like, after your, it's like a promo, it says after your rival gains health, you can like flip it or destroy it to burn them for 2. and it also like destroys a card that you play an ability on more than once. And both of those effects were like dunking me at the exact right moment in the matchup, and I was like, man, thank God nobody else is going to be smart enough to play this. And then I didn't see him. You know, I didn't play against him in the tournament and didn't have to deal with it, right? But like, I think it's like All Smiles or something. Like that card, I was just like, wow, this is really good into Overhaul. Like, thank God he didn't tell anyone else about it.
Yeah, that's very funny.
Another big part of the sideboarding is there's a lot of Infinity cards that do stuff. Like we talked about the Jaw Titan, right? Jaw Titan being super effective into Ymir is something that can happen in every deck now. There's not like a huge amount of these Infinity Silver Bullets, but the fact that like the ones that seem to be most meta relevant, right? Like vertical maneuvering is something you gotta expect to pop out of any deck. So there's some decks where I'm really not afraid of giving you 2 momentum and taking like less than 10 damage turn 2, and then you build a vertical maneuvering on turn on a 4, and then all of a sudden I know I'm not hitting you next turn for any reason.
Yeah. And so like and then like, you know, the game of the game is like, okay, how much asset hate should I pack? Right?
Yep.
Like
Pass
your
through walls.
like your
That's a big one.
Your pass through walls, your hackers become just that much more potent. Did you know that pass through walls only shares a singular attune symbol from AOT? And so like if you're playing it, like your chaos decks get better. Same thing with hacker, it only has order. And so like those decks that are playing those premium asset hate cards to fight it are relics. They are decks from the past, right? Your void Rodans are gonna come back and be like, let's see, what did I hopefully get on the air symbol in order to do something in my game plan. It is a wonky world to exist and be in, because not every ship rose with the tide evenly, right? And it's for the first time ever, right? Asterix, I think it happened one time with Red Horizon. They just like didn't print any fire cards, but like, it's weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, Fire still doesn't have good spam foundations. We're still looking for something to play other than the +1 speed one. Ignite's sometimes applicable, right?
I think you can get away with the Ochako one. The after it's stunned, right? It just depends. It's your flavor of like, do you play Ignite? Do you play that one? And then just like let it be fine. It's fine. You don't get to have basic training, right? Just get over it. just you got to live with it, I guess. You get besieged, and that's.
Yeah, I think there's a couple cards too that I don't know if they're flying under the radar, but they're ones that like I don't know how they keep surprising me. And that is cards like Chomp. Cards like Chomp are something that I don't know, like I glaze over when I'm deck building. It seems like too good to be true almost. Like you read it and you're like, Breaker 2 when I'm on defense, just solve a rival issue foundation. If you're playing it like the Basekigo deck is so good at playing it because you clear it from the card pool on your first attack as part of your once per turn, and so it's like not a big deal at all to just delete your opponent's best foundation and then start your attack turn. So, you know, there's a lot of foundations that I don't know if you can really tech against them, but like I don't think anyone's talking about them. Like no one's complaining about Chomp the way that I feel when someone plays Chomp against me.
Isn't it funny how you squint your eyes and you look at Chomp and it's just Evil Gaze, right? It's Evil Gaze made its way back to the format of like it had a breaker block, it had a way to destroy a foundation,
right?
But like Chomp is like just significantly better because it's that form speed rather than it has the condition of if blocked. It's interesting.
It is. It's interesting that you look at Chomp and then you look at Spirit Gun, and one checks a 4 and the other checks a 3. So I don't know about
one of them
that.
Does hit you in the face for 5 or 6, if I remember. So if we want to.
Okay.
Spirit Gun honestly wasn't even that bad. It doubled up with it was a safe card, so you could pick it up with the dumb asset and play it again, or Jeddah, and Jeddah was just like, kill that foundation, actually kill the rest of them too,
Right.
kill them all.
Do you think we're gonna see a bunch of City Rampage decks? I think City Rampage was like really hyped, and then it didn't actually help you play 8 difficulty attacks very well, so I'm not sure. But that is also another card that that you can clear from your card pool as Pony, just putting it out there.
Yeah, I that is very silly. That's very silly. Why would I do that, Sam? My best attack is a 4-diff. I think it's interesting that looking back at these previous ideas, right? Of City Rampage being just like a nutso card for a lot of decks, and being like, what do we what of the new characters play this exceptionally well? And truthfully, like, what new 5 diffs, like using City Rampage as the example, what new 5 diffs come back and touch City Rampage, and more importantly, what new 5 diffs under the symbols come back and touch City Rampage, right? Because it only shares a singular symbol. It's just chaos.
Right.
And so like, it's again, and probably something like I want to make like a deeper video on, of like attuned. When I learned about attuned, it is the number one roller coaster that I've had when thinking about this game, of just like, attuned is terrible, oh, attuned is awesome, of just like this up and down, of just like, attuned is really cool. Well, attuned now only touches like some decks and strategies. Well, now attuned touches everything. It makes Karasu a viable character, right? Because he got two attuned symbols, and so he got to catch up with the rest of the squad. But then like my water and void decks didn't get anything at all, and like I have to play with the old strategies. Ew, yuck. Like, but there's one card under order for that deck that like is very cool. It's like,
Right.
it is such a roller coaster of, I love this, I hate this, I love this, I hate this, that like, and we've only had a singular attune set, right? How are we gonna feel whenever AOT 2 drops? We can assume what those symbols are for AOT 2 because we saw some leaked promotional material.
Oh, I have not actually.
I don't know.
I have not.
Do you want to know? Do you care if chat knows?
Yeah, I mean, if it's out there, right? Like, it's not like I am the one spoiling it, so.
Nope, it is. I believe it was a playmat. It was a playmat.
So let me.
And it had.
Really
Yeah,
quick,
go ahead.
Before you go, let me say, because I posted this on Facebook in a comment thread recently, where my philosophy was, people were expecting, 6 in the first one, 6 in the second set, and it's the other 6. And I was like, I don't think that's a good idea, because then all these characters from set 1 get literally nothing from set 2. And while it seems fair at first, that doesn't seem like a good idea for especially a spotlight format. So my thought process was, rotate in 3, rotate out 3. You've now had 9 symbols, and then in set 3, you rotate in the final 3, rotate out the 3 symbols from set 1. So you've now hit all 12 symbols over the course of 3 sets, and every character got something from every set if you can draw the chart, right? If we can draw all the lines. That's my idea. So if the promotional material ruins that, then let me know.
We got bad news for you, buddy.
It ruined it, huh?
It is the same 6 symbols, right? If what we can assume with the so it is a playmat. And I think I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna scroll while I'm talking and see if I can go see if somebody dropped it in my Discord. It is a playmat that just has a bunch of different art pieces of like different cards we assume in the set, and if the background color matches the pattern, right, of like the blue ones are air cards and the green ones are life cards and the whatever, there were 6 colors and they were the same 6 colors. We don't know what the names of cards are, we don't know what the cards do at all, but like we just saw pictures and they were the 6 different colors. And so this would be another set that as an attuned symbol set that feast and famine of where's the evil symbol.
Right. Which
If the evil symbol is not in that
oh, it's
Yep.
902.
gonna lose.
I think this is the time every night
Fine.
when Tam's internet goes out. Oh, are you back?
Am I back? You hear me?
Okay, yeah, it's like it's the same time every night that your internet goes out for a second, right?
Yes, but it's not 11:02. I don't know.
No, it is 11:02. Right? It's should be Central Time 11:02.
Who knows?
It's
Who knows
9:02
anymore?
Pacific Time.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, chat's calling it out. It's time for the internet to die. Anyways, this was known. Oh,
But yeah, this is just another feast fan set for pushes.
uh-oh. Here, let me, I might have to close the call and restart it. Because he is completely frozen. Yeah, let me, what row?
Is my understanding?
Ooh. Ooh. Let me try this chat. Let me start a new one.
Hello?
Oh, okay. I can hear you again.
I'm back.
You're back.
see me?
All right. We got you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
It is what it is.
Anyways, my point is feast and famine when it comes to next set also having very specific attuned symbols, and it is not going to even the playing field as people were hoping, like you said.
Which, for all intents and purposes, I think that is strictly better than just going to another 6 and doing my idea of rotating in 3 at a time would be a logistical issue if you really are trying to get like the same number of cards for every character type of thing, and that's just kind of like a pie in the sky world. So and the article that came out, right, talked about how the symbols are representative of the universe, of the world that we're visiting, right? So I think it makes sense that they're saying Attack on Titan is a world that doesn't have good or evil. It has titans and humans, right? And the battle is for freedom, not heroes and villains and things like that. And characters fly through the air and they defy death, and sacrifice is a major theme. And yet you can't have any water in the first set, definitely, because they don't go to the beach yet. So I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I wish there were just 9. I'm so Tim Keefe build of we are so off topic. It's crazy. I'm so Tim Keefe build of I just want to slash 3 symbols and just like print everything. But like I don't run the game. There's 100 things that I would do differently.
Right. You're talking about the roller coaster for attuned. I mean, I think that's how I feel too a lot, because a lot of times I'm like, oh, thank goodness this wasn't like a restrictive combo for my character that only got like 1 attuned symbol, and I want to play this card in them. Like risky encounters for base, right? Is like base.
Yeah.
For base Kugo.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
we know.
Yeah, if I wanted to play void base or air base, you know, then I would probably feel like I can't, because all the cards he got that are really good for him, at least all the good Furies are death, right? So
Right.
but at the same time, I just yearn for the old deck building rules more than the symbol issue. I want to just put any card in my deck, and then I get to figure out how to use it. You know, I want to put the garnets in my deck that I can't play, but maybe I can discard Wishheart. You know, maybe I can discard Any Means Necessary, things like that, and fuel my deck. And that's kind of where I'm at with Attuned. Is I think Attuned is the final nail in the coffin. That's like, we're never going to revert the rules to symbol chaining ever again. The symbol chaining with Attuned is going to get too messy. Oh, bless
I'm
you.
getting choked up just thinking about it. I agree with you. To the that it won't happen. I don't agree with you that I want it to happen, because I do not.
No.
To the point of, hopefully, fingers crossed, starting next week, hopefully, fingers crossed, knock on wood. We will have Webcam Wednesday back.
Oh.
Sponsored by Rochester CCG.
Ooh.
And at the last Wednesday of every month, here's the announcement, is retro. He has specifically requested that 1 week out of the month is retro.
That's sick.
With a caveat that all the deck building constraints and the no attacking on turn 1 is inside of this tournament. So
Okay.
retro ban list, but the everything is deck building constraints wise is just standard to standardize the format. And so your you just save those dreams for retro, also not gonna happen. Your wish cards, keep them in your fire decks.
Right. Yeah, and again, I think that's gonna happen to retro officially too. I think that will be. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that because I was thinking about retro when they announced it, dude. It crossed my mind that I'm like, how does retro deck building look now? Because can I chain in a tune symbol? Because if you took your standard deck and then you put it into the retro format and you can't play it the same, that's a problem. So I agree with that change. It hurts my soul, but for the game to keep moving forward, I think that it has to adopt the same rule set because it's just better for everyone. And as a die-hard old ways, enjoyer, I don't think that you can have a format that has attuned cards and symbol chaining and expect any human being to play it.
Yes, I agree. I agree fully. Man, we started talking retro, and it got me thinking about this kin deck that I have for retro and what it gets under the fire tune symbol. Anyways, whoo, capture the target.
Oh man, it just changes the way Revoke works. I just realized Revoke is one of my all-time favorite cards, and it's no longer the scummiest action of all time. Well, I guess that was Taguro Brothers. That was actually, but still, Revoke and Taguro's right there, man.
Revoke Taguro's stop, right? Like off symbol stop is like
off symbol stop.
Any
What if
block that just removed itself, right?
Okay, how about compromise handshake, compromise UVS games, official reprints with attuned symbols? Give me stop with the order symbol attuned.
I mean,
retro legal only reprint, maybe time. I don't know.
Retro time shifted. We have a problem with time shifted cards. Let's not do those. I am. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Your stream froze, and I was like, I'm just gonna go to bed. I think. I mean, our game is so cool, but it certainly has a lot of irons in the fire, and I think quote unquote fixing retro is just not one of them. Although it is very cool. I think in order to make retro work, I think you actually need a commander style commander style council to be this is how retro works.
Like a fan made format style.
Yeah. But our game's just not big enough for that to work.
It's not big enough for any group of people to devote that much time just to have half the player base disagree with them on one of 10 different things. Because I did that with Aces Highlander. I made a commander format and I said, all right, here's the rules. Here's every question any human being has ever asked me about how would multiplayer work. Here's an answer for it. And I never got 4 people. I only ever got 3 people. And 3 people doesn't work because 2 people teamed up on 1 person. Even after we said we weren't going to do that, 1 person pulled out a universal land destruction deck. And it was like, oh, this is the exact horror story of every multiplayer format. And I'm living it in my own nightmare. So,
I think that we're so off topic. I love it. I think just the number one multiplayer format that you could have is just that boss rate that was Fight the Briarwoods. Like, it's so crazy to me that was like that should be printing UVS Games money. It's insane that they have not like pushed for that. It's crazy that they have not pushed for that.
I'm very surprised that Attack on Titan did not have one. Truly, like it's thematically perfect. It's your squad of people are fighting one person bigger than you. You know, like
Dude, they could come out with new Titans or new boss rushes for all of their IPs. Never sell one of them. Don't sell any of them.
right.
But make them that they are buy a box Friday night buy a box ideas, and you and 3 buddies crack your box, make the 4 best decks that you can, and boss rush, and every month you have a new boss rush that you just print out from the website.
If you
You just like try with different boxes.
if you could make the boss rushes like limited friendly, and it's like we each crack like 6 packs, make like a 30 card deck, and just jam something quick and easy.
Let's have, instead of I crack 6 packs and that's my pool, let's make a box deck, right?
Yeah, that's
hey,
true.
We cracked 8 copies of this one thing. It's going in your deck because this guy's messed up.
Oh,
you get all the copies of Dog Pursuit, right? We're gonna feed Bertolt momentum. You're gonna get the Dog Pursuits. I'm gonna play as Ymir, and I'm the tank, and I'm gonna keep it's so simple. And then you ready, Sam? You ready? Have regional exclusive boss rushes.
Ooh.
You can only play this boss rush at the regional. This is the first time, and you can do an easy mode and a hard mode. The easy mode is everybody cracks a box and we're all playing here. The hard mode is, hey, community, you get to bring a random deck that you have to register, and then you get to fight the boss.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm playing as Ryukyu, right? And the boss says that every time that you draw a card, your 3 friends discard a card, or or someone at the table discards a card. Yeah. Well, now your crazy wombo combo Ryukyu deck now is a bit of a hindrance. When do you draw? When do you not? Right? Like there's so much that you could do in order to make boss rushes like so good.
Sure. I will say this. There was a time where I was designing my own boss rush. I know other people in the community have. There's a couple different people have shared their ideas, and they're all very cool, but they're like intellectual properties I didn't know, right? And I had my own fan theory, and they are surprisingly difficult to balance out just in like very early testing. So I understand why it might not be something that's super polished all the time, which is why doing it for like a sealed limited thing, I think is a really good idea, because you have a lot of wiggle room, right? Where you can make something like low powered, and then it's really up to how good your pools were. But I also love your idea of like, we buy a box and like the 3 of us go, okay, you get the really good death cards, you get the good fire cards, I'll take the air cards, and like we can do our thing. I also love, if you've ever played the Marvel Legendary, how you get like random masterminds. I would love to have a boss rush where I don't know who I'm fighting.
Yeah, no, I agree. So when I originally pitched it, it was whenever you bought a box of universes, your box topper was the boss rush. You got one of those little inserts, and you got a foiled boss card that you and a die that you play with. You play the 6 like I would buy more boxes to bring over to a friend's house and be like, do you want to learn how to play the game? Let's play a cooperative commander style version of universes. I'm not trying to beat you. We are trying to beat Shredder from the Ninja Turtles. We are trying to beat Ghidorah from Godzilla. We are trying to beat the Beast Titan, the Colossus Titan, the whatever, right? Like it just makes so much sense. It just makes sense. And that's the format they should focus on, and not any spotlight. They should kill spotlight. It's standard, and then it's boss rush, and that's it.
I don't hate that idea, because I definitely had when the Briarwoods thing happened and I did it at my locals, we had wildly different experiences based on like little like how we interpreted different rules. Like for example, Armor of the Wolf, we didn't know if like passing mattered or not, right? So the Armor of the Wolf deck did amazing when we said it counts as passing, and then it didn't do so good when we're like, maybe that's not fair, right? So I love that like there's so much like you get such a different experience like each time with it.
Yeah.
I just had this idea. You didn't see me laughing though on stream when you were talking about putting a die in the booster box. We could put chits, CHITS, on the card that comes with the boss rush. Do you know what those are?
No.
So there was once a dice shortage for D&D, and to kind of solve that, they sent you a paper with little punch outs with each of the numbers, and to roll a die, you had to put them in a bag and shake the bag up, and you'd pull out a number between 1 and 20, or whichever die, and that was like your number. Like that could be something that could be done, and it probably wouldn't, like most people would choose to use a die instead, but like that's a way to put it as a little slip in the each booster box, right?
Well, the thing is you get to take and you get to change the die depending on the set.
Oh, that's
and
true,
so now
yeah.
the dice are now collectibles as well.
Yeah,
Right?
that
Like,
would
like I buy 6 boxes and I get 6 dice from this one set, and then the next time that I order a case, I get 6 more dice from a different set that have like a different numbered 6 logo on the top, right? Like imagine the one is the Universe's logo, and then on the other side it is a wall counter,
right.
like a symbol for a wall counter, right?
It's a Survey Core logo.
It's a Survey Core logo,
Right.
it just makes sense to me.
I dig that.
Yeah.
I just don't know the logistics of adding a single die to every box, but I'm sure they could make it work. It wouldn't be that hard.
They got the money to do it. Or hell, you ready? You just send it to it's a buy a box promo.
Right.
Just ship the dice to the stores. You buy a box, you get a die. Right?
I'm down with that.
Like-
I'm down with that. Yeah, no, I love the idea of buying a box, and when the Briarwoods came out, I love the idea of playing cooperatively with my friends, because I know people who want to buy the Yu Yu Hakusho cards, they want to collect them, and they would love to play with them. But the one thing they will never, ever, ever do is sleeve up a deck and play against another human being competitively. That is not in their interest whatsoever. And so if I told them, hey, I bought this box, or you bought this box, and we can play this one-time cool experience, and when we open the cards, here's the thing, right? I'm not like a big pack opener guy. Like I opened up some Star Wars recently with my friend, and it's been a while since I've opened like a whole box that wasn't like on stream. And I was just kind of sitting there, and I'm like sorting cards, and I'm like, this doesn't do it for me, right? I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah.
But if I was looking at those cards going, how am I going to build this deck? How am I going to beat this character as I'm going through these cards I just bought? I'd have to imagine it would be an otherworldly experience.
It's that, and like you doing it by yourself is tough, but if you have 3 homies with you hanging out, and like we're all collaborating together in order to do it, and like your slip of paper, like on the one side has all the boss rules, on the other side has the advanced rules, and there's a QR code of like, hey, here's like, this is it takes time beforehand. Here's how you build a sealed deck out of Attack on Titan 1, right? They have those those ideas for Magic booster drafts, right? Of like, here's your color wheels, and here's what you're looking for whenever you like in this set, the death symbol represents this. And so if the death is the main symbol that you're doing, you're looking for these kind of cards, and if you're an offshoot of this, your deck kind of looks like I think that the idea of a cooperative out of the box experience for your $80 that everybody splits their $20 is like, I think it actually prints money if you just focused on it. Because you ready? How many times? For the past 3 weeks, I have gone to my locals and I have had 3 people show up.
I know that
It's been
feeling.
me, Rebby, and one other person. Instead of playing a lame round robin, 3-person, whatever, we could just like find some jabroni and be like, hey, I'm looking to boss rush this. I'll give you the pitch on it. Do you want to come and play a cooperative card game with me to come in and do it? You now have 3 experienced players who are now getting a 4th person to demo the whole game with an experience, and it is out of the box. And you go, oh, so you like the cooperative version? There is a competitive one-on-one version as well.
Right.
Or it's just me and my 2 homies. We'll just split the cost of the box. It's $33. We get to split the cards evenly, however we feel or whatever. And like, there's the boss rush. It just makes so much sense. But yeah, ban list was good.
That's how these things always go, right? You got to follow the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also.
I don't even know how we got here. Somebody make a chart of like what A to B to C. Like how did we pin this together?
The retro announcement as part of the webcam weeklies, as part of the as part of the attune symbol changes, as part of how do you make symbol chaining. I don't know. I love it all though, right? I love every aspect of universes for the most part. Discard decks can die in a fire, but you know, I think that I think what's crazy, I think that it might be like the poetic melancholy of universes is the unexplored element of it, and that goes so far beyond just like our standards not solved. That goes into how good is triple threat versus a commander versus. They used to do boss battles, right? They used to do the boss battles with the staff cards, where the staff cards are just cranked out the 9s. I know people have made like Boss Rugal, like when it was back like a fighting game type of thing, where it's like, here's a super unfair character, but you can like bring a team. People who like the KOF style stuff, where it's like bring 3 decks, try to beat a character that has like 50 health or something, right? And they're like OP, so when your first deck dies, you start a new game with the boss's health total. Stuff like that. We've seen a tag format where you bring 3 decks, play against one person, and they bring 3 decks, and you can tag in and out. We've had a format of actual teams with championships, which is still the #1 thing that has to come back next year for the official competitive circuit at majors is have a teams day at nationals and worlds or something. Like hell,
Every regional should have a team.
I mean, I would love that. I don't know about the logistics, but if you're charging people for double signups, it makes sense financially, right? If you got to pay,
you just run. I think that you do it as like the first major event after round 3 or whatever, right?
But what if I'm still playing in the main event? That sounds
You're
like
playing
a
in
side
the main
event.
event.
I don't want it to be a side event.
You don't want it. So you just want like a whole extra day.
Yeah, if I'd like to do both.
I think that is unrealistic.
That's what I'm saying. I need the 3-day major format back.
I think it's unrealistic for scale. I think it worked for our little cockroach game, but I think if we have a 400-person event, I don't think that you get through a 400-person teams event and a 400-person singles event in one weekend.
Yeah, so I think it was,
and that's supposed to be on the small end for our game, right? Like,
yeah, we
don't want 400, we want 1,000.
I can't remember the name of it. It's not Altered. It's one of the anime card games. Colby Cram made me pick up an embarrassing bag for him for their world championship. He like bought a ticket, and then he was going to play in a teams event because at their world championship, if you were not in the single, if you were not like in their 32-person bracket, they did it very similar to the Hero League Championship year 1, right? And if you weren't in that bracket, the main appeal for you to show up was they had a teams championship. So everyone else could put a 3-person team and I can't even remember the name of the card game now. And his team bailed on him, but he had like a VIP ticket. So I went and picked all of his stuff up. And while I was there, it reminded me so much of Universes because it was a room with like maybe 200 people in it. They had like a stream set up and everything too, but it was all in the same room, right? It was all really compact, and everyone who was having the most fun was playing teams. Everyone who was having a blast was out there with their 3-person pod, their 3-person team, and they were, coming up with strategies, whatever, coming up with pairings, and I would much rather it be the 3-day format where I get to do both. But if we had to do it as a alternative to being at the Worlds, we're not going to do open Worlds. I think that's a very good alternative.
I think that you also could run. I know you don't want it to be a side event. You could run, maybe 24-man pods, right? Like
Maybe
8 teams of 3,
I
and
mean,
you just run them down. You do that over and over again.
Yeah, we played teams day 2 at Pasadena, right? And we got to play 3 rounds, 4 rounds at most, and we ended up playing like every other team, and everyone. It was like split like 3-1 between like 3 teams or something. Like everyone had a 3-1 record. So I don't know. That playing at that side event did not feel super exciting. I didn't build my teams deck with the intention to go play in teams, right? We slapped everything together at the last minute. Compare that to when you and I teamed in 2020, and we spent weeks like going over that Tim Keefe deck and like figuring out what the best builds were, and we were like, okay, this is your matchup and this is my matchup, and you were playing, I think it was Jeddah, and we had like a game plan for what decks we're putting you against, and that was so much of the fun.
I think that in order for that reality to ever exist again, the game has to grow significantly. Because we're at a stage in the game's size that you just can't do 2 big events. You can't do 2 major events in one weekend like we used to be able to do.
Yeah.
Right? We're just too big. Right? And we're not big enough to go, hey guys, travel and spend a bunch of money. This regional is a team's regional. People are going to look at that and go, well, I don't have 2 friends to play with. Hell,
Right.
I don't have anybody in my entire state to play with. I'm not going to find 2 jabronis online to go and travel this event. The event will just be a failure.
Yeah.
Right? And like we're in this growing pains of like that experience can't happen ever again. Unless they made it. I actually just don't think it'll happen. I just don't think it'll happen. I do think that teams needs to come back in some form, some capacity, right?
Right.
With like real official rules of like actual symbol chaining and whatever, and like plan it in the events, and like don't ask the regionals to host them. Demand them that like these are the sanctioned side events that you have to do this in order to host a regional. And I think teams should be on that list. But I also think that box rushes should be on that list. Whoa, that's a way better name. Box rush instead of boss rush. Oof.
Definitely product first. It's product forward verbiage.
Yeah, and like the point is to sell fucking boxes.
Right.
You know how many boxes of AOT that I'm gonna buy now? AOT 1?
I mean,
0. I'm buying no more boxes of that product ever. I'm not buying another box. It's not happening.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to think of a way to make it work with the teams thing, but I think you're right. I think at the underlying issue is almost everything that I personally want from the game. At this point, just comes from the game growing. That's the bottom line for like everything, right? More players means more casual formats, means more product being bought, which means more product that can be made. Magic has a million like experimental products because they have people who are going to buy it all, and so that's
right.
Really it. Is if we want teams to come back, the game's just gotta grow. Gotta grow the game.
Yeah.
I
agree.
I think that's a good message to wrap things up on. I think we've officially spun our wheels late into the night here. Well, it is.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's always a blast to have you on, Tam. Thank you for subbing in for David on last minute notice. He hit me this morning with the I'm going to a football party, so I had to get a replacement, and I could think of no one better than Cameron Cardwell himself. So thank you so much. If you've got any plugs or shout outs you want to do, now is the time to do them, of course.
Yeah, you can just find me over on twitch.tv/TamCardwell or youtube.com/TamCardwell. But most importantly, if you're interested in playing in webcam events, I have webcam events happening every Wednesday. Starting hopefully next Wednesday. I hope, I pray. I still don't have quite the permission to make the events, but we have signed all the legal documents in order to make it happen. But more importantly, by the time that if you guys are seeing this on Twitch, you can sign up now. By the time it's on YouTube, I don't know when it's going up. You'll probably have missed it. Sign up for the webcam events that Let's Talk EVS and myself are co-hosting. They will be live broadcasted over on my Twitch, but it is way cooler to play in these than it is to watch them. So get out, get some reps in, prep for Atlanta if you're planning to go to that.
Awesome, man. Thank you guys for watching this, whether it's on Twitch or on YouTube. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and most importantly, play some universes, because that's what it's for. It's a game. You got to enjoy it. I'll see you guys on the next episode.